Beneath the waves, in the crushing dark where light has never touched, things move, things, sounds with no source, structures with no builder, fires that burn without heat. The deeper we look, the more the ocean whispers back, not in answers but in riddles that unravel the edges of science itself. Here in this vast unexplored frontier that covers more than 2/3 of our planet lies a world far more alien than any we might imagine in the distant stars. It's a realm of perpetual twilight, of immense pressure, and of secrets that have remained locked away for millennia, perhaps eons. We are only just beginning to scratch the surface, our most advanced technologies mere pinpricks of light in an overwhelming darkness. This isn't just about mysteries. This is about phenomena so bizarre they shouldn't exist, about a realm where the rules we know twist into something else entirely, where creatures larger than skyscrapers drift unseen, their forms challenging our very definitions of life, where the water itself with voices whose origins elude us, creating symphonies of the unknown, and where, just maybe, something ancient and unfathomable is watching us from below, observing our tentative explorations with an intelligence we cannot yet comprehend. These are not mere curiosities for academic debate. They are profound questions that strike at the heart of our understanding of the natural world and our place within it. These are not stories. These are records, meticulously gathered data points, sonar pings, visual captures, and inexplicable audio signatures that defy easy categorization. And what they suggest will rewrite history, biology, and maybe even physics. The implications are staggering, forcing us to confront the possibility that our planet still holds wonders, and perhaps terrors, beyond our wildest speculations. The ocean, our cradle of life, may yet prove to be the keeper of its most profound and unsettling truths. Turn the page, if you dare, as we embark on a journey into the heart of these bewildering enigmas. Since the 1980s, a most peculiar sound has echoed through the vastness of the Pacific Ocean. It is a solitary call, resonating at a frequency of 52 Hz. This is significantly higher than the vocalizations of any known whale species. The blue whale, the largest animal on Earth, typically calls between 10 and 40 Hz. The fin whale, its slightly smaller cousin, communicates in a similar range. Yet this enigmatic voice persists, a lone signal in the oceanic soundscape, a clear repeating pattern that has been tracked by hydrophones year after year, moving with the seasons. This mysterious vocalist follows migration routes that are in themselves quite typical of great whales. It journeys north in the summer and south in the winter, its path sometimes intersecting with the known territories of other cetaceans. However, crucially, its calls never seem to overlap with theirs. There is no indication of communication, no response from the familiar giants of the deep. It travels alone, a singular point of sound in an otherwise bustling marine metropolis. Is it possible that this is a creature so unique, perhaps a rare hybrid, an evolutionary anomaly, that its voice is unintelligible to all others, a biological soloist destined to sing its song without an audience? The persistence of this call for decades now is truly remarkable. If it is indeed a living creature, it has survived, seemingly in isolation, for an extraordinary length of time. Imagine the solitude, the vast, unblinking expanse of the ocean, its only companion. Some acousticians have noted subtle changes in the pitch of the call over the years. It has deepened slightly, a characteristic that could suggest aging, the maturing of vocal cords in a living organism. Or perhaps it is an adaptation, a slow, almost imperceptible shift as it continues its lonely vigil in the deep. But what if the source is not biological at all? The regularity and the unusual frequency have led some to speculate about a mechanical origin. Could this be the lingering sound of a lost submarine, its automated systems still broadcasting a distress signal, or a homing beacon decades after its demise? Or perhaps some other piece of forgotten technology resting on the seabed, emitting this persistent high-pitched lament? The ocean floor is littered with the detritus of human endeavor, And the possibility, however remote, cannot be entirely dismissed. The implications of either scenario are profound. If it is a whale, it represents a unique individual, a biological outlier whose existence challenges our understanding of cetacean diversity and social structures. Its resilience in the face of such profound isolation would be a testament to the tenacity of life. It would be, quite literally, the loneliest creature on Earth, its song a poignant reminder of its singular existence. The very idea evokes a sense of deep empathy for this unseen being navigating the immense, cold, dark waters. Conversely, if the sound emanates from a non-living source, the mystery only deepens. What kind of device could operate for so long unattended in the harsh environment of the deep ocean? What purpose would such a persistent, specific signal serve? The changing pitch in this context becomes even more perplexing. Could it be the slow degradation of a machine, or something more complex reacting to unknown environmental factors? The 52 Hz whale remains a captivating enigma, a single haunting note in the grand, mysterious symphony of the ocean. Scientists continue to listen, to track, hoping one day to pinpoint the source with greater accuracy, perhaps even to glimpse the originator of this unique sound. Until then, it remains a symbol of the ocean's capacity to hold secrets, to present us with phenomena that resonate far beyond their acoustic properties, touching upon our deepest questions about life, loneliness, and the enduring mysteries that lie hidden beneath the waves. The song continues, a persistent question mark in the vast blue unknown. Off the coast of West Africa, near the islands of Sao Tome and Principe, another acoustic anomaly has baffled researchers since its first detection in 2013. This is not a mournful song, but a persistent, low-frequency, droning hum. Observers describe it as strikingly mechanical, akin to the sound of a vast, idling engine, or perhaps a powerful generator laboring deep beneath the surface. It is a sound that speaks of industry, of machinery, yet its source remains utterly elusive, a disembodied thrum in the tropical waters of the Gulf of Guinea. Extensive investigations have been conducted to identify the origin of this pervasive hum. Shipping lanes have been meticulously checked, seismic surveys for oil and gas exploration have been reviewed, and known military activities in the region have been accounted for. None of these conventional explanations seem to fit. There are no registered vessels consistently present in the area that could produce such a sound, no ongoing drilling operations that match its acoustic signature, and no declared underwater installations that could be responsible for this industrial-sounding resonance. The hum is not simply a faint background noise, it is described as loud, a dominant feature of the underwater soundscape in this particular region. Its mechanical character is so pronounced that it immediately suggests human artifice, yet the where and why remain stubbornly hidden. Could it be some clandestine, unacknowledged underwater facility, perhaps a secret military base or an experimental research station, operating beyond the gaze of public scrutiny? The ocean depths provide an unparalleled cloak of secrecy for those who wish to operate unseen. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Gulf of Guinea Hum is its peculiar relationship with the solar cycle. Researchers have noted that the sound often, though not invariably, ceases abruptly around solar midnight, the point when the sun is at its lowest position below the horizon. This temporal correlation hints at a possible link to an external energy source, perhaps one that is influenced by or reliant upon solar patterns or other geophysical phenomena tied to the Earth's rotation. It's a tantalizing clue, suggesting a level of sophistication and operational complexity. Theories abound, each more speculative than the last. Some have proposed that the hum might be an unforeseen byproduct of natural gas vents, with the escaping gas creating a harmonic resonance within certain geological formations amplified to sound like machinery. Others venture into more exotic territory, suggesting phenomena like a naturally occurring Tesla coil effect, some unknown form of deep-sea electromagnetic resonance that manifests as audible sound. The precision of its cessation, however, seems to argue against purely natural, chaotic processes. The persistence and loudness of the hum also raise concerns about its potential impact on marine life. The Gulf of Guinea is a region rich in biodiversity, and such a constant, powerful artificial sound could have significant detrimental effects on creatures that rely on acoustics for communication, navigation, and foraging. Whales, dolphins, and countless species of fish could find their sensory worlds disrupted by this omnipresent engine-like drone, their ancient silences shattered by a sound without a visible, identifiable author. As with many oceanic mysteries, the Gulf of Guinea Hum serves as a stark reminder of how little we truly understand about the activities and processes occurring in the deeper parts of our world. It is a mechanical ghost, its presence undeniable, its origin a profound puzzle. Is it a relic of forgotten technology, a secret modern enterprise, or a natural phenomenon mimicking the sounds of our own industrial age? The waters off São Tomé and Príncipe continue to resonate with this enigma, a steady, low thrum that challenges our assumptions and beckons further investigation into the unseen depths. For centuries, mariners navigating the vast open oceans have returned with astonishing tales, stories of calm seas suddenly, inexplicably erupting into what appear to be vast sheets of flame. These are not the familiar flares of methane gas escaping from the seabed, which burn with a visible, often turbulent, fire. Instead, these are described as ethereal, silent conflagrations, sometimes stretching for miles, that dance upon the water's surface for minutes or even hours before vanishing as mysteriously as they appeared, leaving no trace, no scent of smoke, no lingering heat. These accounts, once dismissed as sailors' yarns or optical illusions born of fatigue and isolation, have persisted across cultures and generations. From the Indian Ocean to the waters off Southeast Asia, reports of these milky seas or seas of fire describe a phenomenon that defies easy explanation. Unlike methane seeps, which are localized and often associated with specific geological features, these phantom fires can manifest in open water, far from any known vents, and often cover enormous areas with a strange, luminous glow. The most perplexing aspect of these reported underwater fires is the consistent lack of any tangible evidence left behind. Expeditions sent to investigate areas where such phenomena have been recently observed find nothing. No burn marks on vessels that have sailed through them, no traces of unusual chemicals in the water, no detectable increase in temperature. It is as if the fire itself is an illusion, yet one so vivid and widespread that it convinces seasoned sailors of its reality. This absence of physical residue is what sets it apart from known combustion. Several theories have been proposed to explain these ghostly illuminations. One possibility is a massive, synchronized bloom of bioluminescent organisms, perhaps bacteria or dinoflagellates, agitated by currents or other stimuli, creating a false fire effect on a grand scale. While bioluminescence is a well-documented oceanic phenomenon, the sheer scale and intensity described in some Sea of Flames reports would require an unprecedented concentration and coordination of these light-producing life forms, far beyond what is typically observed. Another line of inquiry explores the possibility of unknown underwater electrical phenomena. Could certain conditions lead to large-scale plasma discharges at the sea surface, or perhaps some form of triboluminescence generated by the friction of water masses or sediment particles under specific pressures? The ocean is a complex electrochemical system, and there may be energy interactions occurring that we do not yet fully comprehend. Alternatively, some have speculated about the existence of unknown combustible minerals on the seabed, releasing gases that ignite in a unique, heatless manner upon contact with seawater or air. a tantalizing piece of modern evidence emerged in 2022. An expedition near Indonesia, specifically looking for such events, managed to capture a brief 5-second burst of intense luminosity on a thermal imaging camera. Intriguingly, despite the visual appearance of flames on standard cameras, the thermal signature was negligible. There was no significant heat associated with the event, lending credence to the historical accounts of fire without heat. This observation deepens the mystery, suggesting a process that produces light, but not the expected thermal energy of combustion. The Sea of Flames thus remains a captivating puzzle, a phenomenon that bridges the gap between folklore and scientific investigation. Are these events purely biological, a breathtaking display of nature's light show on an epic scale? Or do they hint at undiscovered geological or electrochemical processes occurring within the ocean's depths, capable of producing light in ways that mimic fire, yet defy its fundamental properties? The ocean continues to guard the secret of these phantom illuminations, occasionally offering fleeting glimpses of a fire that does not burn. In the Hadal zone, the deepest trenches of our oceans, where pressures exceed 1,000 times that at sea level and sunlight has never penetrated, our remote cameras have begun to reveal life forms of astonishing scale and bewildering form. Among the most enigmatic are colossal, gelatinous shapes observed drifting silently in these crushing depths, sometimes described as being larger than a blue whale, the largest animal known to have ever existed on our planet. These are the Abyssal Medusae, entities that challenge our very understanding of biological possibility. These are not the familiar jellyfish or siphonophores we encounter in shallower waters, though they share a certain ethereal, gelatinous quality. Their morphology, as glimpsed in fleeting video footage from remotely operated vehicles, does not neatly fit into any known phylum. They appear as vast, amorphous blobs, sometimes with trailing filaments or intricate internal structures, but always of a size that seems almost impossible for a creature made primarily of water and delicate tissues to maintain in such an extreme environment. One of the most baffling characteristics reported by operators of deep-sea submersibles is the apparent ability of these entities to phase or shimmer, their bodies appearing to shift between a more solid, defined form and a diffuse, almost transparent state. It is as if they can control their very density or visibility. Furthermore, some ROV pilots have described these massive creatures fading or even vanishing when bright lights are shone directly upon them for extended periods, almost as if they are sensitive to or can react to the intrusion of our observational equipment. These giants of the abyss often appear to hover motionless, or drift with an unnerving slowness, seemingly undisturbed by the powerful currents that can sweep through even these deep trenches. How they maintain their structure, how they feed, and how they reproduce in such an extreme and nutrient-poor environment are questions that currently have no answers. The sheer biomass suggested by their size implies a unique metabolic pathway or an incredibly efficient method of energy acquisition, perhaps unlike anything we have yet encountered in the biological world. Speculation about their nature is understandably wide-ranging. Could they be extraordinarily large colonial organisms akin to a deep-sea fungus or a unique type of microbial mat forming a single cohesive superstructure from countless individual units? Such a hypothesis might account for their amorphous nature and ability to cover vast areas, or are we perhaps witnessing something even more fundamentally different, a form of non-carbon-based life, or life that utilizes principles of biology far removed from those we are familiar with? The Hadal zone is in many ways the last true frontier on Earth. We have explored more of the surface of the Moon and Mars than we have these abyssal plains and trenches. Each dive, each new image brings the potential for discovery that could rewrite textbooks. The Abyssal Medusae, if their existence and reported characteristics are confirmed and studied, could represent one of the most significant biological discoveries of all time, forcing us to expand our definition of what life is and what forms it can take. The challenge, of course, lies in studying these ephemeral giants. Their deep, inaccessible habitat and their apparent sensitivity to our presence make direct observation and sample collection incredibly difficult. Yet the tantalizing glimpses we have had are a powerful impetus for further exploration. These colossal gelatinous beings are a profound reminder that the deep ocean is not a barren wasteland, but a realm teeming with wonders, some of which may dwarf our imagination and stretch the very limits of biological science. Chapter 5. The Bermuda Deep Echo, a repeating metallic knock. The region known as the Bermuda Triangle has long been steeped in myth and mystery, a nexus of unexplained disappearances and strange phenomena. While many tales are exaggerated or easily debunked, some modern scientific observations from this area continue to present us with genuine puzzles. Since 2016, submersibles operating near the Triangle, particularly in the vicinity of the Puerto Rico Trench, the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean, have recorded a most peculiar and persistent sound, a distinct metallic clang, repeating with almost machine-like precision. This is not a random noise, nor does it resemble the groans and creaks of geological activity. Instead, it is a sharp, resonant impact, like a giant hammer striking an anvil, and it occurs with unnerving regularity precisely every 37 minutes. This rhythmic quality is what sets it apart and fuels intense speculation. Natural geological events such as underwater earthquakes or landslides rarely exhibit such clockwork periodicity. The sound signature itself, described consistently as metallic, further deepens the enigma, suggesting an origin that is not purely organic or geological. Researchers have diligently worked to exclude conventional sources. There are no known shipwrecks in the precise locations of the strongest recordings that could account for such a sound through shifting currents or structural collapse. Industrial activity such as deep-sea drilling or resource extraction is not prevalent in these specific deep trench areas. Furthermore, known biological sources like the calls of whales or the clicking of shrimp do not match the acoustic profile or the rigid, unwavering 37-minute interval of this metallic clang. The sound appears to be strongest near the abyssal depths of the Puerto Rico Trench, a colossal chasm plunging more than 8,000 meters below sea level. This is a region of immense pressure and perpetual darkness, a challenging environment for any human-made object to endure, let alone operate with such rhythmic precision over extended periods. The fact that the sound emanates from such an inaccessible location makes direct investigation extraordinarily difficult, relying heavily on remote sensing and acoustic analysis. The machine-like rhythm has led to some rather imaginative theories. Could it be some forgotten piece of Cold War technology, perhaps a sonar beacon or a submarine detection device still inexplicably operational on the seabed, or does it hint at something far older, something not of human origin? The precision is what captivates and confounds. Nature can produce rhythms, of course, the ebb and flow of tides, the cycles of day and night, but a sharp, metallic clang every 37 minutes is a pattern that seems to cry out for a more specific, perhaps even artificial explanation. One intriguing, albeit highly speculative, hypothesis suggests the possibility of a natural nuclear reactor. It is known that concentrations of uranium ore can, under very specific conditions, achieve self-sustaining nuclear fission. Could ancient uranium deposits within the geological structures of the Puerto Rico Trench be undergoing some form of periodic critical reaction, causing vibrations or pressure pulses that manifest as this metallic sound when transmitted through the rock and water? This would be an extraordinary natural phenomenon, but it remains a theoretical possibility. The Bermuda Deep Echo, therefore, stands as a modern addition to the lore of this mysterious region, but one grounded in repeatable scientific observation. It is a rhythmic metallic heartbeat from the deepest part of the Atlantic, a sound that poses a direct challenge to our understanding of ocean acoustics and the processes at play in these Hadal zones. Each 37-minute interval marks another beat of this enigma, urging us to listen more closely to the profound and often unsettling voices of the deep. Chapter 6. The Chilean Ocean Maze, Submerged Geometric Structures. Off the coast of Chile, in the vast, relatively unexplored expanse of the southeastern Pacific, sonar surveys have revealed something truly astonishing, lying silently at a depth of approximately 2,000 meters. These are not the random jumbles of rock or the undulating contours typical of the ocean floor. Instead, what has emerged from the sonar data are images of remarkably straight walls or ridges, forming an extensive grid-like pattern that stretches for many kilometers. The symmetry and geometry are so precise that they immediately challenge any purely natural geological explanation. These structures, often described as forming a submerged maze, consist of linear features intersecting at near-perfect right angles, creating a series of square and rectangular enclosures. The scale is immense, far larger than any known ancient terrestrial city discovered to date. If these are indeed artificial, they would represent a feat of engineering that is difficult to comprehend, especially given their current depth, which places them far beyond the reach of any historically documented civilization's construction capabilities. Naturally, the first consideration is whether these could be unusual but ultimately natural geological formations. Basaltic extrusions, for instance, can sometimes cool into columnar joints that exhibit a degree of regularity. However, the sheer scale, the consistent straightness of the lines over vast distances, and the precise angular intersections observed in the Chilean ocean maze seem to go beyond the typical expressions of such volcanic or tectonic processes. Geologists consulted on the findings have struggled to provide a conventional explanation for such extensive and ordered geometry. This has inevitably led to more speculative and indeed more exciting possibilities. Could these be the remnants of an ancient, unknown civilization that flourished tens of thousands of years ago, perhaps during a time when sea levels were significantly lower? If so, this would predate all known major civilizations by a vast margin, forcing a radical rewriting of human history and our understanding of early societal development. The notion of a sophisticated culture capable of such massive underwater or originally coastal construction so long ago is truly staggering. Another line of thought explores whether these structures might not be walls in the conventional sense, but perhaps some form of underwater mineral formation crystallizing along specific stress lines in the Earth's crust or influenced by complex hydrothermal vent activity. Yet even these hypotheses struggle to account for the consistent grid-like pattern. Could these be resonant mineral deposits, forming natural energy channels that somehow self-organize into these geometric configurations, under the influence of telluric currents or other unknown geophysical forces? The mystery of the Chilean ocean maze has, quite rightly, spurred immense interest and the planning of new expeditions. Future missions aim to deploy advanced laser scanning technology and remotely operated vehicles equipped with high-definition cameras. The primary goal will be to get closer to these structures, to analyze their composition and, crucially, to search for any evidence of tool marks or other telltale signs of artificial construction. Such evidence would be transformative. Until such direct, close-up investigation can be successfully undertaken, the Chilean ocean maze remains a profound enigma mapped from afar. It is a silent, submerged network of lines and angles that speaks of order and complexity. Whether it is a lost chapter of human history, a bizarre quirk of geology, or something else entirely, its presence on the seabed off the Chilean coast is a powerful testament to the fact that our planet still holds vast, unexplored territories concealing potentially paradigm-shifting discoveries. Chapter 7. The Silent Zone, Where Sound Vanishes. In a remote and desolate patch of the South Atlantic Ocean, near the oceanic pole of inaccessibility known as Point Nemo, the place on Earth farthest from any land, lies a phenomenon that seems to defy the very nature of sound propagation in water. This is the silent zone, an area where acoustic waves, particularly those generated by sonar systems, appear to simply vanish. Submarines, both military and scientific, traversing this region have reported encountering sonar blackout zones, where their emitted pings travel outwards, but no echo, no reflection, returns. Sound, as we understand it, travels exceptionally well through water, often much farther and faster than it does through air. This property is fundamental to marine life, which uses sound for communication, navigation and hunting, and to our own underwater technologies such as sonar, which relies on reflected sound waves to map the seabed and detect objects. The existence of a region where this fundamental property is inexplicably nullified is therefore deeply perplexing and has significant implications. Several hypotheses have been put forward to try and explain this acoustic anomaly. One possibility involves a unique thermocline or halocline, a layer in the water column with a sharp gradient in temperature or salinity respectively. Such a layer, if possessing particular characteristics, could potentially act as a kind of acoustic lens, refracting sound waves so dramatically that they are bent away from the source, creating the illusion of absorption or trapping them within the layer itself, preventing any return echo. Another theory considers the specific mineral composition of the seabed, or suspended particulates in the water within this zone. Could there be an unusual concentration of certain minerals or organic materials that possess extraordinary sound-absorbing properties, effectively acting like an anechoic chamber on a vast oceanic scale? Perhaps unique geological formations on the seafloor itself, such as extensive fields of porous rock or soft, deep sediment, contribute to this dampening effect, swallowing sound energy rather than reflecting it. A more complex idea involves the concept of a natural waveguide. It's conceivable that specific oceanographic conditions, a combination of temperature, salinity, pressure, and current dynamics in this particular area, could create a scenario where sound is not absorbed, but rather ducted or redirected away, channeled along unseen pathways to dissipate far from its origin, or even focused into other distant regions, leaving a local shadow or silent zone behind the source. This would be a highly unusual and localized oceanographic feature. The strategic implications of such a silent zone have not gone unnoticed. The United States and China, two nations with significant naval and submarine capabilities, are both reported to have conducted classified studies on this phenomenon. The ability to render sonar ineffective or to create areas where underwater detection is severely hampered would be of immense military interest. This classification, of course, only adds to the mystique and limits the publicly available information, fueling further speculation about what might truly be occurring. The silent zone near Point Nemo is more than just a scientific curiosity. It is a region where one of the fundamental tools for exploring and understanding the ocean becomes inexplicably blunted. It challenges our models of acoustic propagation and hints at complex, localized oceanographic or geological conditions that we do not yet fully grasp. Is it a natural quirk of this remote oceanic desert, or does it conceal something more? The silence from this part of the ocean speaks volumes about the mysteries still held within its depths, a void in our sensory map of the underwater world. Outro: the unseen frontier, reality's edge. These glimpses into the ocean's depths reveal far more than just isolated puzzles. These aren't just gaps in knowledge, they're glitches in reality as we understand it. The ocean may be hiding cryptic civilizations, their silent cities awaiting rediscovery beneath millennia of sediment. It could be a crucible for unrecorded energy phenomena, where the fundamental forces of nature manifest in ways we have yet to imagine. Or perhaps it is the cradle of life forms that defy biology as we know it, organisms built upon different chemistries, thriving in conditions we once deemed impossible for existence. Each anomaly is a breadcrumb leading us towards a more complex and perhaps more unsettling truth about our planet. The sheer persistence and peculiarity of these 7 mysteries, and countless others like them, demand our continued attention and rigorous investigation. If even 10% of these mysteries have mundane explanations, simple misinterpretations or phenomena that will eventually yield to conventional science, the remaining 90% could change science forever. That vast remainder holds the potential to revolutionize our understanding of geology, acoustics, marine biology, and even the history of intelligence on Earth. The ocean is not merely a passive body of water, it is an active, dynamic, and deeply enigmatic realm. The journey into these profound unknowns is far from over. Want to explore which one is the most likely to be alien in origin, challenging our anthropocentric view of the universe, or dive into the murky waters of government cover-ups and classified research surrounding these oceanic phenomena? The questions are as vast as the ocean itself. If you enjoyed this journey into the surreal, don't forget to like, share, and